And we welcome you in. It's a beautiful spring afternoon, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Vitus Athletic Complex is the site of our broadcast where we open up CAA play. It's our men's lacrosse game of the week, the UMass Minutemen and the Drexel Dragons. We welcome you in, everybody. Matt Martucci and the former Maryland standout Bugs Combs. Well, you've been through a few of these, some conference openers. You wiped the slate clean from non-conference play, and it's about a month-long now sprint to the finish line, try and qualify for the conference tournament and get into postseason play.
You're exactly right. That's exactly what it is. You know, once you get into conference play and in the CAA, every game is going to count, and every minute of that game is going to count. So you're going to see both these teams coming out after playing a really tough non-conference schedule, getting into the CAA league play, and you're going to see some battles today.
UMass, the only team that emerged over 500 in the non-conference schedule. 5-4 are the Minutemen. Dragons coming in at 4-4. Jimmy Coyda and Noah Rack today at the face-off circle. Rack, one of the best in the business, and Coyda still getting adjusted more or less in year number 2 as a collegiate lacrosse player, but definitely much improved from a season ago. Ready to go for what's the 10th overall meeting between Drexel and UMass. And the procedure call on Coyda. And the Minutemen will start with the ball. UMass offense coming in, giving up about as many goals as it puts on the board. A little bit over 12 a game for Greg Canella's offense this year. The midfield with Jake Lasauskas, Jeff Trainer, who's coming off of what was 4 goals against Brown. And quickly moving in on Teitelbaum and wasting no time. 30 seconds in, the visitors have the lead.
You can't ask for a better start than that from UMass for those guys and Coach Canella. As you see, they just come in and they take their patience, and it looks like in this set, Drexel wasn't going to slide to Trainer quickly, and they kind of hedge slide. The slide doesn't come. He does a great job of keep going to the goal, and then just shoots the ball, and he beats the goal. He sticks side high there, but the difference was there was a hedge slide from Drexel. They didn't fully slide.
And Kyle Strang, the one who I think slid over maybe a little bit too late.
And as a defenseman, you can't get caught in the middle there. You either got to go or you have to stay. Don't get caught in the middle, or that's what's going to happen to you.
16th goal, by the way, on what is 24 shots on goal this year for Trainer. So efficiency personified right there. And Rack, again, not cleanly this time, but able to get it for the Minutemen. And their short stick, Philpott, and over to Paparo. And if you're getting that kind of lift from one of your captains and your defenders, boy, what a start for the Minutemen.
The quick start for the Minutemen, again, to win the first 2 face-offs of the game. Action on those here, it looks like Drexel may have gotten caught in transition with not enough guys on the field subbing their face-off guy off, and they just did a good job of staying spread out for the UMass offense, and the pole does a great job of shooting the ball high to low and beating Teitelbaum.
Isaac Paparo, who's on the Tewaarton watch list and known for his ground balls and his caused turnovers, and you could see it. It's just his 2nd tally of the year. That's exactly what you want, though, going on the road.
That is. It's a great start for UMass. You know, the next possession, Drexel hasn't even gotten to touch the ball on the offense end, and it's already 2-0 so far.
And this is a place where UMass has never won. Lead the overall series. This is the 10th meeting, 5-4 in favor of the Minutemen, but have never won a game here at the Vitus Athletic Complex.
As a visiting team, this is not an easy place to play.
No, not at all. What is it about it?
It's the fans. It's where you are. It's where the field's kind of located. It's kind of the setup of the field. It's just not easy to win here as a visiting team.
Manganello backing it out and playing it to X. Down to Matthew Varian, who's been the most consistent scorer for the Dragons. Comes in on a 9-game goal streak, 17-game point streak. The midfielder, Fox. Dragons coming in a little less than 11 goals a game. This is Fox again trying to work his way in. It's a freshman in between the pipes for the Minutemen in Hampton Brannon, who's been 4-1 on the year, stopping almost 49% of his shots. Varian briefly fell down. We're 2 minutes in. And first challenge, and standing up to it is Brandon denying Manganello. And trying to settle the unsettled situation with Paparo. And the quick clear, Minutemen are into the attack zone with Marino. And good D that time by the Dragons. That's the pole. Matt Klingus giving his goaltender Teitelbaum some help down there.
Yeah, Teitelbaum with a big save there. You know, Matt sticks a stick to the UMass player and was able to stop that. They had a little bit of a slow break on that play with numbers again, but they weren't able to take advantage of that opportunity with Teitelbaum making the save.
Peter Rahill waits for the Cavalry in the form of Jake O'Donnell. We're talking to Brian Volker. Is their energy guy, their rah-rah guy, one of their more consistent scorers in the midfield. He's kind of their do-everything.
And the first possession that Drexel had, I thought that was a pretty good possession. They took their time. They got the right shot. Brandon just made a nice save from about 10 yards, you know, and they were able to get the ball back. So I would see the same type of possession here again from Drexel.
This is McLaughlin, who they're trying to get going. Chris McLaughlin, the sophomore from Vienna, Virginia. Varian, wind and fire for McLaughlin, and got it deflected coming out of the stick. Paparo was there, and coming through the boxes quickly for the Minutemen, thinking about 3-0. And this time they go bottom shelf, deflected up in the air. Teitelbaum, it's still loose in front of the cage. It's got to be a fun little sequence for a defensive unit where you can't find the ball briefly.
No, it was pretty close to bouncing back over the goal and going in.
Going in.
You know, as a defense, you're just looking at it pretty nervously. Please don't do that.
This is Tobin, who plays a lot bigger than his size. 5'6" freshman from Reading, Massachusetts, part of that midfield unit with Trainer and Lasauskas. Manned by the short stick D-Midi, Colin Mailman. Extra pass, looking out in front, and out of bounds. So the Minutemen turn it over.
Good possession from UMass there, though. That was a good look. I think, you know, the player he was throwing it to, I think they thought he was going to shoot it and just wasn't ready for it. And it was a great one more look there. Had the guy right on the crease.
And Teitelbaum getting a little bit aggressive coming out. Mailman, one of 6 different short sticks that they'll use.
Very different than a lot of other college programs using 6. And the way they use them is they use them in pairs, which is interesting. I think that they each have different qualities and they kind of link up well with each other.
Yeah, that was what Brian Volker told us. Cam Harris and Strang, Colin Mailman and Luke Hurley are 2 of the pairings that they use for their 6. Interesting thing about the Dragons, they can be a little bit more possession. They can be up-tempo. Brian Volker's always said, I've never really subscribed overly to one or the other. It's more about taking what the defense gives you, and wide right for Manganello, but backed up. Played a little over 5 minutes, and Drexel has gotten a couple in on the cage. This one backed up, run down by Reed Bowering. He and Varian, along with Marshall King, head up this Drexel Dragon attack. Matchup of a pair of teams that were picked 3rd and 4th in the CAA preseason poll. Zach Mans has only been back a game, coming off of injury. And out there right now for the Dragons wearing jersey number 2. Fox trying to wheel his way in off the dodge and out of bounds. Chased down by Varian on the backup.
Fox was doing a good job of driving down hard to get his left hand free and come back over the top.
And they've had consistency in that midfield unit from O'Donnell and Manganello. They said Fox has actually stepped up a little bit, but then after those 3, their second line still trying to find it a little bit.
Yeah, you know, and with weather like today, you can run that first unit almost the whole time.
Yeah, that helps. Finally starting to feel like spring here in Philadelphia. Varian taking a tumble. And out of bounds.
And this is a situation where Drexel's, starting to wear down the UMass defense. This is where a lot of defense will give up a goal because maybe the second or third slide's not going to be there. Just being worn down here with this 2-minute possession.
And Bowering setting up the cut for Mans, and there it is. Ask and you shall receive. The Dragons are on the board for the first time.
Right after, UMass wins those face-offs, scores the first 2 goals, Drexel's able to come down and get some momentum on the offensive end. And here it's a simple give and go. And again, what we just talked about, the defense gets tired, and he's able to back cut his man, and he does a great job cutting to the goal and then finishing the ball. But that's a great look and a great job having your head up, and then Zach Mans is able to finish the ball on the doorstep.
So after UMass ended up getting a pair in the first 47 seconds of this game, Drexel finally with a response. It took almost 6 minutes since the last UMass goal, but Dragons certainly more in their element now. And there you go. It ends up pushing the face-off win for Koida, which is his first one of the day. And all of a sudden, Drexel off the goal, maybe feeling like it has a little bit of momentum early on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. And you can feel that momentum, and you can feel these guys, after that goal, winning the face-off. They, like we said, they endured those first minute and a half, 2 minutes where UMass went up 2-0, and now they're really working the ball and having possessions on the offensive end and making UMass's defense work.
Dragons' second line midfield is in there. Stansfield into the game, playing with some of the first teamers. Along with the likes of O'Donnell, this is Bowering, the sophomore attack from British Columbia, all CAA preseason selection. Nice cut for Manganello, but lost it out of his stick. And quickly chased down by the defender, Luke Valenza.
Even on that play, Drexel got exactly what they wanted to. They just need him to shoot the ball quicker and get rid of that shot inside sooner.
Any type of transition that the Minutemen might have had, quickly broken up by the Dragons. But a successful clear nonetheless. More than halfway gone here in the first period. Matt Martucci, Bugs Combs. UMass had the first 2 goals of this one. Zach Mans just responded a little less than 2 minutes ago for Drexel. This is Dom St. Laurent, who had a big year a year ago, but quiet so far this season. Minutemen trying to angle it in. Trainer had the first goal of the game, got it over to St. Laurent. And Drexel attempted a successful clear. Another one of those shorties in Cam Harris.
And that's another place, if you're playing that many short sticks, there's another place that you might be able to get some things, some transition and get some extra looks because you're fresh and you're outrunning those offensive midfielders where most teams play a first midfield and then a second midfield here and there.
Interesting turn that the way this game is taken based on the way the first minute went. Drexel couldn't even get the ball down at its end. And now in just these last couple minutes, all Dragons, it feels like.
And I think it really started with the first couple saves Teitelbaum was able to make and, get the ball down the other field. And that gave, the offense some confidence.
Stansfield backing it out. This is O'Donnell. He's from Poway, California, a long way away from home. Varian trying to come across his body and out of bounds. Quickly backed up by Stansfield. Fox facing up, shut off on the roll dodge. O'Donnell 1v1 against Jake Marino. Fox, and change the angle, and the good result. And we're tied up.
And again, we see possession, by Drexel, being patient, giving what the defense can. And again, they must be seeing something in the UMass defense because Drexel likes to drive down that right side, turn back, and get across the middle with their left hand and shoot. I think both their goals so far have been that way, of getting into the middle of the field, and they've done a great job that way. And I think that one of the things they need to continue to do is moving off the ball, because that's opening things up for Drexel right now against that UMass defense.
9th one of the year for Nick Fox, who's a Ridley Park, Pennsylvania native, not too far away. Down the blue route off of Route 95. So knotted up at 2/3 of the way through this first period.
And with that face-off violation, that will change how the face-off is the rest of the half, because we have 2 face-off violations on Drexel. You can't be as aggressive when you have those violations, because that third violation will incur a penalty.
Yeah, tough early day for Coita going against Rack, who's won almost 60% of his face-offs career and really playing some of the best lacrosse of his career these last few games. Tobin angling in and quickly turned away. That was Jack Farrell, part of what's a young defensive unit because of some injuries for Drexel. And we get a low bridge. And Farrell and the Dragons awarded possession after Trainer took a little bit of a hit there.
Yep, definitely playing. This is going to be physical. We're CAA, we're league play. This is going to be a physical game.
Mailman has already been able to execute a successful clear. This is a second one. Mans back onto the field was the one that got the scoring started for Drexel and gets the ball from Chris McClellan. And looking for it again, but lost the ball out of his stick. And a bit of a disjointed attempt at a clear for the Minutemen. Drexel making things a little bit more difficult at both ends now. Paparo, though, finally able to get it over, and Trainer. What do you have to do now if you're UMass here offensively?
You know, I think that they just need to move the ball. Their possessions haven't been, you know, even in the beginning of the game when they were scoring, both those goals were off transition. So they need to get better possession. I think they need to move Teitelbaum in the goal. He's done a good job standing tall, but they haven't moved him across the crease and made him get to the other side with passes. And I think that's what they probably need to do to score here.
And this time they go top shelf and get the lead back to the Minutemen. Charlie O'Brien, part of that second line midfield, with his second goal of the year.
And same thing, you know, from the goal earlier from Trainers. We don't see a slide at all on the short stick. You got to slide to your short stick. I know they have confidence in their short sticks, but that's a tough matchup from that wing. You have to send the pole and get the double and make them move the ball through X and find the open guy on the backside.
Charlie O'Brien, that makes me think Major League Baseball, journeyman catcher, who had really good facial hair back in the day.
That's important.
But this O'Brien, second goal at 5th point for the sophomore from Chelmsford, Massachusetts. And there it is. There's the third violation for Coita. And Brian Volker had said he thought this could potentially be a tough day for him.
Yeah, and there's a difference between it being a tough day and not winning the face-off and scrapping it out rather than jumping and, you know, not even involving your wings. Here, you know, they've given them 3 face-offs. Now on this third one, they go man up. You know, and you feel like Drexel's been playing so well since the first 2 minutes of the first quarter that this is just something that's tough here, and it's tough to stop teams on man up.
This is typically the time where you look out for Ben Spencer. Right in the middle of that zone, wearing number 9 for UMass. 15 career man-up goals. Is a really good finisher in these situations. And Minutemen line him up just about right in front of the crease. Work it back to the middle. And now back to even strength, but we're going to get another penalty coming. Cam Harris with the push from behind.
It's just not a smart play. I'm sure Coach Volker's not going to be happy with that. It's kind of a tic-tacky foul. You know, they probably could have called it a loose ball push, but, you know, they're going to call it. They called it. And you're coming in there. You know, you see the guy's back to you. Don't run him over. It's pretty simple. You know, that's you got to be disciplined there. And the defense did a great job killing the man up, and now they got to do it again.
Minutemen are now 14 of 35, came in at about 41% in terms of their man-up opportunities. Carr trying to set it up at the front of the cage for fellow attack Spencer. Trickled away, but Connolly, who's the freshman, the youngest of this attack unit, is the one to run it down. And again, back to full strength, so Dragons able to kill off penalties in succession.
Great job by the man-down unit from Drexel to kill both those penalties.
Clayton Proctor off for UMass. Kevin Tobin in. Coming up on our final minute of this opening period of play. Minutemen jumped out the first two. Drexel came back with a pair of its own. And then Charlie O'Brien, just a few minutes ago, pushing the Minutemen back over the top. Lasoskas manned up on the short stick Strang. Dragons come in, wins in 4 of their last 5. Minutemen 4 straight, trying to make this a 5th in a row.
Now we got the shot clock on. You know, with 42 seconds left to go in the half, there's about 20 in the shot clock. So we're going to have a difference here between the half and the shot clock.
Down to 15, Carr coming across his body on the cut left of the zone.
And I bet he wants that one back because he's scored on that cut a lot this year and right in that bottom corner.
Trainer with 6 to shoot. Try to dodge and turn it over. And Dragons off the quick restart with some transition.
They got numbers.
Manganello coming across and wide with the backup Varian. Final 10 seconds of this opening quarter. And Varian again trying to turn it back. Tough angle for him. Run down and backed up by Bowering. One more restart. And that's how this first period will end. 1 in the books here from Vitus Field. And UMass, a late first quarter goal after the early lead, back up by 1 here on Lac Sports Network. Back at Philadelphia, what's a gorgeous spring day, the Vitus Athletic Complex. It's a 1-goal deficit for the home team, the Drexel Dragons, whose fans have certainly come out in tow to support the home team. Matt Martucci, Bugs Combs, what was a back-and-forth first quarter. And again, UMass getting the lead. Still feel like that there is some momentum, though, that rests with the Dragons because they went down early and were able to get back in.
Definitely, and they got to feel good, you know, having, you know, only be down by 1 right now with 3 violations on the face-off. They haven't won many face-offs. So, you know, they got to feel good winning the first face-off. This is a great start right here.
Dragons at this end of the field this time around.
And I'm so sure Coach Boyle likes it better when he had his offensive guys in front of him. You know, when I was coaching at Towson, I always liked it when those guys were in front of me. You know, I could tell them more. We could communicate a little bit more. It was easier. You know.
And that's Brian Volker's assistant, Stephen Boyle.
And I'm sure the players are going to listen to a guy like Stephen Boyle. He had a really successful career at Hopkins and then the MLL.
Fox was trying to shed the defender, Philpott. And this is Philpott off the clear. with some transition for the Minutemen. Carr coming across the setup and the goal for Connolly.
Starts on the defensive end again. Great double team by the UMass defense to get the ball on the field, but then all three defensemen from the rope unit, which is the long stick midi and the two short stick middies, stay in it. Carr, they get the ball to Carr. Instead of Carr being selfish and shooting the ball, he's got over 70 shots for the year. He moves the ball to Connolly for a better shot, and Connolly puts it away in the back of the net.
17th goal of the year for Chris Connolly, who came in right behind Carr for the points lead. 28th point of the season for Connolly. Carr with 36.
And I think the Drexel defense expected Carr to shoot that as well, and I think that's why Connolly was so open and able to get his hands free, is because the defense was concentrating on Carr because of the ability he has.
Yeah, Buddy Carr, as good as they come in this league and in all of Division I. And certainly a guy who's put in his time, has gotten better every year. And this time we get the violation on UMass.
It looks like they call a hold on UMass. An important possession for Drexel here. They've had good possessions except for the last one. Most of them have, ended in good shots, whether the goalie saves or they score. They just need to continue that.
McLaughlin and Luke Stansfield. Around the horn it comes Marshall King. Varian, yet to hear from him, playing from X. And O'Donnell briefly shut off by Marino. Trying to get it to the front of the cage, fell down. Drexel offense could reset just a couple minutes into the second period. Late first quarter goal for the Minutemen, have picked it up with another one. And Bowering sending this high. They've done a good job on both he and Varian early on.
They have. Luke Valenza's done a great job on Varian, I think, just being in his hands, not letting him get inside.
And tumbling to the front of the cage, Varian again, denied by Hampton Brannon. More transition for the Minutemen. Carr couldn't scrape that one off the carpet, and quickly a turnover. The pole, Klingus taking it away. Matt Klingus, who played his high school lacrosse locally at Malvern Prep, and able to set up another Dragon possession with Stansfield.
And this is where offenses can really take advantage of it. When you have your second opportunities, UMass made a stop. They weren't able to clear the ball. They had their same defensive personnel on the field. Drexel's able to change their personnel. This is a huge advantage for the Dragons here.
And see if they can take advantage and capitalize. Minutemen have won 2 of the last 3 in this series, but as we said, never won here at the Vitus Athletic Complex. And a lot of the games haven't been close. Average margin of defeat has been about 5 goals. Varians shut off again. This time Brannon able to get the stick in there and deflect it out.
Very disciplined defense by Valenza again to drive him to the pipe and not giving him an angle and let Brannon be there to make the save.
And again, Minutemen end to end very quickly. This time it's Marino to bring it through. Carr and Spencer. What I would call a very underrated attack unit in the CAA. Greg Cannella said no real superstars. Bugs Combs said no, I disagree. I really like the way Buddy Carr plays.
They do, and it's really set up nice. They have the senior with Buddy Carr being the leader. Connolly a freshman and Spencer a sophomore. So, Carr's definitely going to be the leader of that group, but the other two seem to be following his footsteps.
Trainer, who opened up the scoring with the first goal of the game, tried to set up Carr. Down low, and Tobin had to get a little tricky with that behind his back and turn it over.
It was the right idea. Connolly was open. If he would have got the ball there, Connolly probably would have had a nice shot.
Mailman through traffic. He and Harris have done a really good job end-to-end on those clears.
They have. They've cleared the ball, and they're not giving UMass their second opportunities. That Drexel's getting on the offense end.
O'Donnell on the substitution. Top shelf they go, and there's Marshall King representing the Drexel attack.
And the patience of Drexel, great job on the defense end. They get the ball on the ground, they get the ball up, they're able to get their subs in, and it seems like they've caught UMass on the change game, transition game, and just opened things up because they had 5 defensemen on the field, and you're going to get the ball to King in those spots, and he's going to find it in the back of the net. He doesn't need a lot of angle, plays a lot of indoor lacrosse, used to shooting in small spaces, and you give him that space and his hands free, it's a goal.
In the western part of Canada in British Columbia, Marshall King, he's a Victoria native.
He's got some pretty good bloodlines as well, too.
Yes, he does.
His brother was a heck of a player, or still is, really, but he could play.
Yep. King, the sport management major, has a pair of game-winning goals in the first few games of the year this year.
Face-off X's now it's getting a little bit more even. We have two face-off violations on UMass, so the next one they violate, they'll have a penalty as well.
And so things evening up a little bit here.
And I don't know, we're having 5 violations so far in this half. Is that more of the players or more the officials? I'm not sure.
You could probably speak to that better than I can.
Well, I'm always going to say it's the officials.
Manganello through traffic. They wanted the cut for King and now have to recycle. O'Donnell and the Dragons thinking about a tie. Yet to lead in this game. Trailed 2-0 and came back. Then down 4-2 and trying to put together another run here. That one intended for, it looked like O'Donnell, but he ducked out of the way and it ends up a turnover.
I think O'Donnell may have thought that it was supposed to go through there, and I don't think he realized he was open there. And that's a tough play because sometimes you don't want to try and grab the pass from another teammate that's supposed to get it behind you. So just a miscommunication, tough play.
Trying to be unselfish when he didn't need to be unselfish, I guess.
Yep.
6 minutes into the second quarter, Matt Martucci and the former Maryland Terp, Bugs Combs. And our entire fine Lac Sports Network crew. Well, it's a back and forth CAA opener. Physical. Had some runs on either side. What else would you expect the first game of the year in terms of conference play? Roll dodge for Carr and ended up getting shut off. And crossed the zone and turned over by O'Brien. Klingus again able to take it away. King and Fox. Klingus will retreat after what's been a nice last few minutes for him. King had the last one.
And this is a short stick matchup. They're probably going to go back to this matchup here, maybe get the ball around. But I don't think they want to have cover, and UMass wants to cover King with the short stick. Yeah, you see they made the switch already.
Yeah, they get Paparo on him, who's their best one as far as that goes. Stansfield briefly doubled. Fox already with one. That draws the penalty. Staying with the play. Drexel going to go on the man up as soon as UMass ends up possessing this. And McLaughlin running it down at midfield, and Drexel going to go on the man up for the first time today.
We'll see what the call they have on here.
Let's get one more look, and it looks like just your run-of-the-mill push.
See, I think that's, even as an offensive guy, I think that's a tough call. I think he's on his shoulder there, and just the way the guy falls, they call it a push, but that's a tough play for a defenseman. He's disciplined. He sits down on the guy, maybe a little bit on his back, but more on his side, but Drexel will take it, and it's their first man up, like you said.
It's one of the polls in Mike Elcock. Dragons only average about 1 out of 3 every game in terms of EMO, 33% on the year. Bowering and co. halfway through, and still nothing to show for it. King, and changes that. Wow. There's some power behind that one. Marshall King took a shot afterwards, but has just tied this game.
I'm not sure how that's not a penalty. I think the officials missed this one, but it's a great job. And this is where a lot of offenses can score at the end of the man up. They're not man up necessarily, but they're not 6-on-6. The defenseman hasn't gotten in yet, so they take advantage of that. And that's definitely a late hit, maybe even a high hit. I think the referees missed one there.
But you could see Marshall King sucking a little bit of wind after taking that shot.
Great shot by King. Good job by Drexel recognizing that they weren't even yet, moving the ball up top. And we've seen him shoot the ball twice now. And I mean, he shot it high to that corner, and he's got a heck of a shot when he gets his opportunity, and it ties it up 4-4. And you can see Coach Volker, he's not happy there's not a penalty here. And we're going to take a look at it. We'll get a chance that we get the throwback here, shoots the ball, and that's definitely late. That's 2 or 3 steps late.
Yeah, no attempt to even stop from Valenza.
And that changes a lot of things. It's 4-4. If they call that penalty, it's a dead ball foul. It means Drexel's up, and there's no face-off either. So it takes off the face-off, which they haven't been as successful in the first half with.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Had the first quarter penalty because of the 3 violations on Coita. This one gets deflected out of bounds. Dragons with, again, more pep in their step coming off of back-to-back goals. Quinn was trying to run it down, couldn't do it. Now the question is, can Drexel capitalize on this and actually get a lead? They haven't had one yet.
They haven't, and you got to think for UMass, they've scored 4 goals so far, 2 of them in transition, and the other 2 have been dodging the short stick and Drexel not sliding to them. So you probably want to set something up where they're going to get the ball and dodge a short stick again here.
Tobin playing it back to X, where Connolly, who already has a goal. And again, Teitelbaum standing tall. Trying to set it up to Strang. And that almost ended up going the Dragons' way. Bowering was waiting there on the sideline for it, but it squirts out of bounds.
Yep. Good job by UMass in the ride there to make it hard on Drexel, and they turned the ball over. And they got the last possession. We saw what they got. They dodged the short stick. Drexel didn't slide. They were just, Teitelbaum made the save. You'd like to see maybe a better shot and maybe shoot the ball to the goalie's offside there.
Carr playing it to Lasauskas. O'Brien and Trainer have represented the midfield with a pair of goals. One from the attack at Connolly, and then an unlikely source in the defender Paparo. That's been the UMass scoring. Drexel, Mans, and Fox from the midfield, and a pair from the attack at King. Trainer trying to bounce to the middle of the zone. Carr runs it down as we come up on 5 minutes now to go in the second. And the Minutemen want to talk things over.
It was a good timeout by Coach Cannella here. They're getting what they want on the offensive end, so they're seeing the success of dodging the short stick and finding those guys. And then moving the ball. I'm really impressed with the way UMass is in transition. Their short sticks and their long stick midi are getting up the field, creating opportunities. Teitelbaum's been doing a great job since the first 2 minutes in the first quarter for Drexel, making those saves in transition.
Well, this is our first CAA men's game of the week. We return with a rematch next week for one of last year's semifinals when Drexel visits Towson. It's LAC Sports Network's coverage getting underway with the Lacrosse Now pregame show at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, followed by the face-off at noon. That's the CAA game of the week, and it's only on LSN. Curious as to how you see kind of the shape of the league this year. It's one that, in kind of my opinion, feels like anybody could walk away with it with the way that it's set up. Nobody necessarily standing out.
I think you're right. I think the losses they had at Towson on the offensive end as well as in the midfield are going to hurt those guys, but they seem to be rebounding. The CAA is a battle every year. I mean, it's hard for the 4 teams to even get in the CAA tournament, and then play in the CAA tournament and have to play 2 tough games to win the tournament and get the AQ. but we've seen what they could do. We saw what Towson did going all the way to the Final Four last year. We've seen many teams from the CAA, go to the Final Four over the last 10 to 12 years, and we've seen the success of the league, and you've seen the league beating ACC, Big Ten opponents every year, and you just see what's going to happen on the field. And I like the style of play in the CAA. It's hard-fought play. Like, the games are tough. The guys are grinding them out, and you just, you can see the heart in the games. That's what I really like.
And no stranger to it today. It's the same type of game that we're getting. UMass a pair of 2-goal leads. Drexel has battled back each time. And Dragons, courtesy of back-to-back goals from Marshall King, have been able to tie it up. Greg Cannella and the Minutemen always know it's going to be a battle when they come down here. A lot of experience on the two sidelines there. 16 total years of head coaching for Brian Volker. Between he and Greg Cannella, it's 40 total seasons on the sidelines.
It's a lot of coaching. A lot of practices.
Yes, it is. Connolly tried to weave his way in. Was looking for a cutter, and the fellow attacked Spencer, but had to work it out to Tobin.
Shot clock on.
Connolly drawing the matchup of Mailman. Shot clock now down to 12. Carr going to go to work. And a violation.
Yep, they're going to call a move and pick on Connolly there. He's just trying to set a pick to help Buddy Carr get his hands free. And he needs to set himself and let Buddy Carr come off of him instead of moving. And give Drexel another opportunity.
Dragons still looking for their first lead.
Feel so far in the first half that 90% of the game's been played on this end. Whether it was Drexel had the ball or UMass had the ball.
Yeah, that's
right. This left side here.
Especially in that first minute or few minutes of play in the first quarter. That was before the Dragons took some of the momentum back. Stansfield played by Marino. And hard shot from Varian. Pepper in that corner, backed up on the Dragons. Stansfield runs it down.
Stansfield, he's doing a good job here, also using his size against that defenseman, and making sure. And then they have to slide to him because he's so big, and he finds Varian on the backside. It was a good shot, good pass. Good offense so far from Drexel the whole game.
What do you think of the young goaltender, by the way, in Brandon?
I think he's made the saves he's supposed to make so far, and that's what you're looking for from a young goaltender. Just make the ones we need you to make. Make the 10, make the 12, the 15-yard ones. If you let the inside ones up, we'll live with that.
Yeah, they've been happy with him, Greg Cannella and his staff. Ended up replacing a starter in Sean Scanone. And has to fight every day in practice, though, to keep that job. Timeout now for the Dragons. And their goaltender, kind of an interesting story as well. The CAA conference play now in full swing. Next week, Lac Sports Network brings you a pair of women's games as teams fight for a spot in the conference tournament in May. On Friday, it's last year's runner-up Elon traveling to Hofstra. Then on Sunday, the defending champion James Madison hosts Drexel. It's the CAA Women's Game of the Week, and it's only on Lac Sports Network. Going back to the Dragons, their goaltender in Craig Teitelbaum ended up starting his career here at Drexel, went to Hobart for a year, and didn't necessarily felt like he fit in with the culture there, and then came back, sat for a year, was a manager for the Dragons, and now starting as a senior for Brian Volker.
Yeah, that's a great story. What do they say? Sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side.
That's right. Yeah.
And he gave it. He was in contention to play when he transferred. Ended up transferring. Went to Hobart. Probably didn't like the 40 inches of snow they get up there every year, and was like, I'm out of here. I'll go back, and at least we only get 10 or 11 down in Philadelphia a year.
You'd make a lot of money up there in winter apparel, I feel like. Oh. Maybe you and I can open up a store or something. We could make a killing.
I don't know. Coach Raymond, he's got some thick blood up there running that program. It's cold, but what we're going to see, and I think what we're going to see here from Drexel coming out here, I would like to see we're going to see 1 or 2 set plays, and they're going to have probably a set play against a man defense and against a zone defense, just so they're prepared for whatever UMass comes out. As a coach, I always liked the defense. When I was on the team, my defense came out in a zone out of the timeout because I think it always messes things up, and it makes the offensive guys now think a little bit more. So I'm sure Coach Boyle recognized that, set up a play for man, and set up a play for zone.
Look at Brian Volker on one side, now Greg Cannella on the other. A lot of mutual respect for both of these programs. You talk to one about the other. Brian Volker said, known him a long time, respect him a lot, but tomorrow we're not friends. That was our conversation yesterday, as it usually is. Fox trying to sneak his way out of the double team, and to do it so, Drexel's going to go man up. Varian turning it back. Was matched up with Jackson Subak. Another one of the starting defenders for UMass.
So far, what I've noticed from Varian Dodge, we're taking a look here at the hole, which is, I think, another little tic-tacky foul. He got underneath his arm, and he didn't lift him off the ground or anything like that. But I think that's a tough foul, but, Drexel will take it here. And I think one of the things you're going to see from Drexel in this man-up is they're really going to try and work this right side. You're going to try and get probably King his shot and see if UMass may even try and shut King here.
A hold on one of their captains, and Shane Rinkus, who actually had 2 penalties the last game in their win over the Brown Bears. And Drexel with the quick response. Dragons end up going man up, and Bowering on the board for the first time.
The referees talked about it for a while. They want to find out if he left his feet on his own. That's the rule. If you leave your feet on your own and land in the crease, it's not a goal. But if you just fall down, it is. I can't tell from that left foot, but that looks awfully close there to me. But the referee's goal line extended. He's right on it. Maybe we'll get another look to see if we can slow it down and see if he steps on that blue line or not. The referee's coming over here to give an explanation to Coach Cannella.
And one more look at Bowering.
As he steps, no, looks like the ball's in the goal, and he doesn't leave his feet. He steps in. If you leave your feet, then it would be no goal.
It kind of went up on the toes there.
Yep.
He was doing a calf raise or something like that.
And I was a little surprised that that's the man-up shot they were taking. It wasn't necessarily the highest percentage shot, but he got it in the goal. That's all that matters at this point.
And Koida nearly out-battling Rack, and he did. They called a push. Called a push and possession awarded to the Dragons. Greg Cannella not happy with the fact that one of his guys is down over there in Elcock.
Yeah, couldn't really see what happened if it's turning his knee or he was slashed on the play. We'll take a look here and see what happens. He picks the ball up.
I know. He got caught up with the official.
I think that's unfortunate. It just looks like he might have hurt his knee there or something, but that wasn't anything cheap from Drexel or anything from Drexel. That was just a very unfortunate play for that young man.
That's just that's one of the officiated crew, I guess, not getting out of the way quick enough.
Hey, we need the officials to be in shape too.
That's
get their fitness up.
I'm sure they're fine. Greg Cannella wondering how his guy ended up on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
He's
it is.
skipping the pylon.
It is the pylon.
Oh, that's awful.
I thought maybe initially it was to avoid the official and then started to fall. But, yeah, it was avoiding the pylon.
Got to reset it here.
Yeah, going to move the clock back to 1:55 and add 7 seconds. Yeah, Greg Cannella not happy about Elcock going down, but I think in review they'll they'll learn that it wasn't anything.
When he watches the film tomorrow, he'll notice that. But I can understand why you would think that, seeing that play and being 50, 60 yards away.
Yep, looking at it across the field. Varian wanted the setup and certainly had it for Manganello. And Drexel the over and back. That was Kiernan trying to keep it on that side of the field and unsuccessfully. 3-goal run here for the Dragons after trailing what was 4-2. Have basically won these last 12 or 13 minutes, and more so the last 10 when King made it what was a 4-3 game. Back-to-back goals from Marshall King and then Bowering on the EMO on the man-up goal.
The Drexel team's been very resilient today. UMass comes out, takes a 2-0 lead, comes back, takes another lead, and they just keep fighting through it.
Yeah, Dragons have certainly stayed right in there. Inside of our final 40 seconds. What's been a good one so far from Vitus Field. Can the Minutemen manufacture some more offense before they go into the break? Set up in front for the midfielder Trainer and run down by Spencer, and Greg Cannella going to spend a timeout.
No reason to keep that one in your back pocket.
Nope.
Use it. Your guy was about 15 yards away from the goal with 17 seconds left. You can set something up here. And I wouldn't be surprised here if they're going to look for Trainer, probably to start the dodge, possibly. They've done a really good job of taking advantage of the short stick matchups, and as well as Drexel not really sliding to those matchups early, and taking that short stick defenseman and going to the goal, have 2 goals off of that. So I would look for something similar, or I would look for Varian and Connolly maybe to pick behind the goal.
Well, if you want to recap in terms of what's happened this weekend in the CAA, Lac Sports Network is your home for CAA lacrosse. Every Tuesday night, 8:30 Eastern, you can watch CAA Press Pass. It's an in-depth look at all things CAA lacrosse, including highlights and interviews with the conference's top players and coaches. CAA Press Pass, it's every Tuesday at 8:30, and it's only on Lac Sports Network. If you happen to fire this one up late on your tablet or laptop or cell phone or however you're watching LSN, UMass led 2-0, 4-2. Drexel has come back each time. And the Minutemen one more possession before we go to the break. Craig Teitelbaum doing a really good job standing tall early on after the Dragons went down 2-0 to help them get the momentum back. Trainer played by the pole, Klingus. Here we go, the final 8 seconds. Good D for Klingus. Off the face dodge, Trainer still got it off at Teitelbaum, as he's been a wall this first half, able to deflect it out of bounds. And that will do it for our first half. Drexel with a 3-goal run to close things with a 5-4 lead on top of UMass. Bugs and I will be back with the second half just a few minutes, but for now, we send you back to the LSN Broadcast Center for the Lacrosse Now halftime show. It's Drexel by 1. Good first half for Teitelbaum.
Yeah, it's tough if you look at Teitelbaum and you're a shooter trying to shoot against him. He takes up a lot of the goal. He reminds me a lot of Mark Manos, who was a goalie here at Drexel a few years back. And just it's hard to shoot on those type of guys because you're not looking at much net.
Yeah, Teitelbaum taking up a lot of real estate, 250 pounds to go with that 5'11 frame. And ends up at the break with what it was 4 saves. Back at the circle with Rack and Koida. And funny enough, talking to Brian Volker about Jim Koida, just keeping his head was a big part of the beginning of last year when he was getting dominated by a lot of other face-off guys, but it was because his competition in high school nowhere near the level he was going to face in the CAA. But has really adjusted well and turned into what could be one of the better face-off guys in this league by the time all is said and done. He wins another one out of the gate.
Yeah, and that's a big one, the first out of the half, especially the way Drexel went down 2-0 to start the first half.
Fox already has a goal at one of the 5 in the first half. But this one anticipated and quickly taken away by the Minutemen. And right up the field they go. Philpott able to create the goal for Spencer. It started with the short stick at Philpott, and the result is the first one of the day for Devin Spencer, his 10th of the year.
That simple, great play, jumping out, grabbing the pass, and then getting up the field. And you see a lot of D guys, when they get up the field, they don't necessarily know what to do with the ball. As a short stick D mid, he knew what to do. He moves the ball. And again, we have the opportunity to shoot the ball with Buddy Carr there. He sees Devin Spencer with a better shot, feeds him inside, and finishes. And that's 3 goals off transition so far for UMass. They have 3 goals off transition and 2 off beaten short stick defensemen.
And 10th goal of the year for the younger son of the former Fairfield head coach, Ted Spencer, who actually coached both Devin and his older brother and current teammate Ben at Monte Vista High School out in California. And Coita this time scooping it up, give him not necessarily the clean win, but the ground ball as a result. But quickly lost and taken away by the Minutemen. That time it was Myers, I believe, they're out at the center circle. He's their backup face-off man. Tom Myers runs off. And another Drexel turnover. This time Harris had it poked away out of his stick, and it's Philpott again handling. Spencer sends it across. As the long pole rink is playing a little two-way game, and now will retreat. That was Drexel with the 1-goal lead at the break. And UMass not waiting long for a response. I don't feel like we're going to see much separation on either side. 2 goals might kind of be the ceiling.
Yeah, I think it's going to stay. This is going to be a tight one. The only way I can see it is maybe if UMass just gets hot off the face-off X and continues to take possession.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But besides that, I think it's going to be a close one.
Carr has this one altered, and it goes way up in the air. Nice reaction time for Teitelbaum. Carr yet to find the net. Only 1 point on the day. Connolly rolls to one side and then the other. And Harris doing a good job on him, able to force the turnover out of bounds.
Both defenses starting the half off very strong. Even though UMass got that goal, that was a transition goal. It's not a goal that you can put on Drexel's defense, I don't think.
Minutemen certainly had the will to get this game tied. Bowering backs it out to Stansfield. Still, as we said earlier, trying to figure out that second line midfield. Stansfield's actually been getting a lot of run today for the Dragons. But Brian Volker had said, outside of O'Donnell and Manganello and Fox, that second line, it becomes, hey, you go in here and you do this. Different guys have different responsibilities on that second line. This one lost by O'Donnell. And Marino had trouble initially retrieving. And now UMass with some transition. Look at cross zone. Paparo looking for a second goal and was denied by Teitelbaum. Big save. But lost out of bounds. O'Donnell couldn't get it up.
We see UMass continue to get those opportunities in transition. The Drexel offensive midfielders are coming off the field, and the defensive midfielders from UMass are staying on. And you've seen Coach Boyle from Drexel talking to those guys about that right now. They need to match up with those guys.
Haven't heard much from Ben Spencer yet. Couple of man-up opportunities for the Minutemen earlier in the game. But Drexel was able to kill off both of them. That's his forte. Trainer had the first goal of the day. Haven't heard much from him since. It's the older of the Spencers, Ben, to the younger and out of bounds. That's a little brother-to-brother miscommunication there.
Yeah, that's a tough turnover there. You know, you want to stay, realistically, you want to have your stick in your left hand if you're catching the ball there. If you're Devin, you know, it catches in your outside hand. He's trying to catch the ball with his inside hand, which is not as easy.
Third of the way through this third period. UMass so far doing the only scoring as the Minutemen try and win a fifth in a row. NJIT, UMass Lowell, Hartford, and then a more convincing win on the road against Brown, where they put up what was 14 goals in that victory. Fox, same turn, same spot, and the same result. Second goal of the day.
And that seems to be his move. He drives hard for his right hand down and then comes and gets across, comes in and turns and gets towards the front of the goal with his left hand. You see him driving hard down. He comes, and right here is where we need UMass to come with that. That's where the slide needs to come. And you see he's just a little bit late. Shane Rinkus is a little bit late to get to his hands, and Fox has the opportunity, you know, and that's a big goal right there.
Second one of the game. What's his 10th of the year? Double-digit goals now for the sophomore from Ridley Park, Pennsylvania.
And that's their first possession of the half, really, on the offense end. They've had some, 5 and 10 second quick possessions, but nothing like that. And that's what they need. Now they can see if they can, get a win at the face-off X and control momentum that way.
And Fox, a big-time jump from freshman to sophomore year as we get the violation on Coita. But big-time jump for Nick Fox, was only playing in just a couple of games last year as a reserve midfielder. And here in his sophomore year has moved on to that first-line midfield. And already 10 goals in his first 9 games.
And when you come in for your sophomore year, you know what to expect. You know what the coaches want from you. You have a year under your belt. You're ready with the program. And you just have a little bit more confidence. I think that's what you're seeing out of him this year.
Yeah, there's almost no excuse not to improve, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spencer angling his way in, and a second goal for him as well.
Second goal in a row for Spencer for UMass. And again, it doesn't look like that the Drexel defense wants to slide to the short sticks. They're going to let their short sticks matchups play. Here he gets inside and there's no slide, and the slide doesn't get there in time, and he's able to, just put the ball high to low to the all side, beat Teitelbaum. That's a tough save for a goalie, but the slide has got to come quicker and get to him before he gets that shot off.
Big now third quarter for Devin Spencer. Has had both of his goals. Got it started 50 seconds into the third quarter, and now has another one, and we're right back and forth here. Drexel takes a brief lead. UMass ties the game. All of about 35 seconds worth of a lead for the Dragons.
That's it.
Rack scooping it up off the carpet, and that would have been a great setup for Connolly, but it ends up going wide. And now Teitelbaum.
Buddy Carr a little bit too unselfish on that play. I think he probably should have taken that shot, tried to get Connolly on the backside, but Drexel's defenseman did a good job getting down and getting into his hands.
That was almost the same setup I think they were going for as the first time Connolly scored.
Yep, and you can see the Drexel defender learned, and he hustled back to get to him.
Mans and Reed Bowering. This is Zach Mans, and now Nick Fox again. And Fox this time having to angle it and go top shelf.
Now, good job by Fox that time of taking the shot with his right hand. Shane Rinkus did a great job doubling him. He was waiting for him to come back to his left hand, but he didn't, and he got the shot off with his right.
Well, you figure you've scored on him twice. He's a freshman goaltender. Maybe you test him in some different ways, right?
Definitely.
Varian working from X, trying to turn it back on a tough angle and run out of bounds.
He's made that move about 4 or 5 times today. I think if he would get one more step before he shot the ball, he would be in good shape. He's just shooting the ball right when he gets the goal line extended with no angle.
And you have to wonder, maybe is he cutting it short because of the way he's being defended?
Worry about that slide coming too.
Yep, trying to anticipate it. Man's played by Philpott. King thinking about a hat trick and playing it back to X. Varian has basically been blanketed all day long. Valenza's done an excellent job on him. McLaughlin setting it up cross zone, and all King had to do was catch it, just couldn't corral it. And a rifle of a clear. Marino, though, has it taken right back. And this is the freshman Quinn. Brian Volker very impressed with Sean Quinn in conversation yesterday. Both he and Jack Farrell, a pair of freshmen starting on the defensive unit for Drexel.
Yeah, and those guys have really stepped up with the injuries they've had on the defensive end. Coach Collins, I know as well, has been really happy with those guys, stepping in when they needed to.
And that's Chris Collins, who's responsible for the defensive side. Stephen Boyle handles the offense for Brian Volker. Stansfield and Philpott. And turned over by Stansfield quickly. Taken away, Paparo in transition. And end-to-end quickly right into the Drexel attack zone. Two-thirds of the Minutemen attack has found the back of the net. Still waiting for Carr. Midfield has gotten goals from Trainer and the likes of O'Brien. Trainer back to X and Connolly. Nice setup, and there's Carr. That one skipped off.
Yeah, it was a good shot by Carr. Just got the outside of the net there. It looked like good job by UMass picking the ball up and keeping control and possession.
Down to the final 5 minutes of the third quarter. Trainer played by the pole Klingus. And has an alley. And bounced this one wide right and knocked over the pylon. UMass sideline shouts out two-man. Set up Tobin off the nice roll, but good slide that time. Mailman with the rotation. Trainer once, twice, but can't shed it.
Very effective check by Jack Farrell there with that.
Tobin and over the cage and out of bounds. Minutemen get the backup again. Kevin Tobin, a goal on 3 shots in that win over Brown. Yet to get anything going, though, today. He's been one of their more consistent players over the last 6 games. With what's 15 points. On the angle and to the cage, and Lasoskis gets on the board for the first time. And the Minutemen, once again, are able to jump back in front.
Similar offense. They pop the guy to move the ball off the crease, and then they dodge that, and they're able to dodge the pole here, and it just doesn't look like number 45 here. Jack Kieran takes that right angle at him, and he's able to get down the side, and then he gets back inside, and before the slide can come, finishes the shot.
Lasoskis, one of the surprises of this team. When you talk to Coach Cannella, said he was always capable of the type of play that he's been giving him this year, but that it hasn't really come to fruition until his last year in Amherst.
And sometimes that happens, when a guy just has some old, a class in front of him, he's just not as comfortable. And now that it's his senior year and it's his year, he feels comfortable. Maybe he feels comfortable being a leader as well.
Yeah, you go from being one of many supporting pieces to one of the guys.
Yep. And when that clock's ticking down in your career, it'll make you do a lot of things.
St. Laurent. Spencer sending it cross zone. Carr drawing the assignment this time of Brendan Greenwald, who's their 5th defender. Connolly taking his time, setting it up from X. They wanted to set up Carr. Final 3 minutes of the third quarter. What's been back and forth. But 3 of the 4 goals so far coming from the Minutemen. A pair from Spencer and the last one from Lasauskis. St. Laurent working his way free. Carr getting the setup. And are we going to get a crease violation? Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely a crease violation, and the reason that's a crease violation is because Teitelbaum's able to make the save, and the player falls in the crease there. Without that save, that's probably a goal, and he probably doesn't end up jumping in the crease. He falls in, and they count it.
As St. Laurent, I believe the one who ended up taking the tumble. Now, anytime if you can go on the road and potentially take a lead going into the fourth quarter in a game that you knew was going to be exactly like this, you'll take that if you're the Minutemen.
It'd be interesting to see how Drexel plays this last minute, 35 seconds. See if the officials, when they put the shot clock on, you know, ideally you want to take your opportunity if you can, but you don't want to force anything if you don't have anything.
That one deflected out of bounds, backed up by Varian. Varian again coming across his body on the tough angle.
He does a great job of getting to the front of the cage, but he doesn't turn his hips and his shoulders towards the cage when he's shooting.
And as a result, those have been most of his shots. Haven't been able to get any of them to stick. Haven't heard much from the sophomore Sean Valentino today, but getting some late run for the Dragons. Varian using the pick, and Valenza again doing an excellent job. Fox thinking about a hat trick, has an alley, lost the ball, but quickly picked up, and Manganello with the response. Ties this game with 45 seconds left in the period.
And that's just picking the trash up and throw it in the goal. And I'm not sure, maybe you give Fox an assist on that, even though it got checked out of the stick, went right to him, picks the ball up, throws it in the goal. Goals and things like that go your way if you're going to win in the CAA. The ball just bounced up to him, picks it up, puts it in the goal, tie ball game. And this is a really big face-off here with 45 seconds left to go in the third quarter. If you could figure one of these teams could, you know, get the possession and finish and go up by a goal like we were talking about with UMass earlier, I think that's going to be a big key. And we knew the face-off X from the beginning of the game and throughout the game that was going to be somewhere where this game was going to be made.
Another win for Rack. Minutemen, you'd think, going to try and use all of this clock.
Yeah, you got to figure either you want to go in 8-7 or you want it tied 7-7. You don't want to go to the goal too much. Probably you're going to go to the goal between 15 and 20 seconds here, so that gives you an opportunity for a rebound or another pass if something does work out for you.
Lasauskis back behind. Carr, one dodge, two, and taken away by Teitelbaum. That is a big-time save from the senior.
UMass got the play they wanted. Teitelbaum's there making the save.
And what do you know, at the end of 3 quarters of play here at the Vitus Athletic Complex, Drexel and UMass are all knotted up. This is our CAA Lacrosse Game of the Week, and it's been everything that we've thought it could be today. And it's on LSN. Now, big face-off coming for Drexel's Jim Coita as the Dragons, by virtue of a late third-period goal from Will Manganello, have tied this up in a back-and-forth game where the largest lead for the Minutemen has been 2. Drexel's led by only a goal. Matt Martucci and the former Maryland standout Bugs Combs and our Lac Sports Network crew. Everything we expected and maybe even a little more today as these two teams open up CAA play. Rack and Coita, and outdueled that time on the ground ball. Jim Coita with kind of a box out there of Noah Rack.
Just kept scrapping for the ball. Didn't win the initial clamp, but kept scrapping. They get the ball, and Drexel goes here on offense. They didn't have the clock running there. We're going to have to take some time off the clock.
And this face-off battle has been a little more even, I think, than we thought it would be.
It has been, and I think, especially after the way the first quarter started and we saw how UMass dominated it, Drexel came back in the second quarter and they were able to dominate. In the third quarter was pretty split, I thought, and here we're going to go into the fourth quarter, and, you win the face-off X, you win the ground ball war, you're probably going to win the game today.
And what's a big first possession for the Dragons after Coita was able to track that down? Manganello had the big capper to end the third quarter, coming across the body and continues to build on the momentum. Drexel reclaims the lead on the strength of its senior midfielder.
Continues to take the success. The first goal we saw here earlier was a garbage goal. This is a straight, hard, right-handed dodge. The slide does not come to him. He gets his hands free, and he shoots the ball really well on the run, high to low to the far corner. It's really hard for Hampton to get to that shot. And he's just such a quick release as well from Mangiello there that it's hard to get to that opposite side. And second goal of the game, second goal in a row for him. And takes them to start the lead and start it again at the face-off X. They're able to win the face-off, get possession, and cash in on the possession.
That's the 8th career multi-goal game for Will Manganello. Who often, with the way this Drexel offense is constructed, with guys like Bowering and Varian and King, you forget about a guy like Manganello, but you shouldn't.
Nope, and that's when you need your older guys, you need your upperclassmen to step up in the CAA games, and that's what he's doing.
Haven't even played a minute, and the Dragons have already gotten the lead back. Manganello's 11th goal of the year. But you have to know UMass is going to respond. Minutemen have done it all game.
And Drexel here has made a little bit change on the defense. We'll have to see whether they're playing, if they're playing a zone or they're playing man-to-man, but they've moved their short stick defenseman to goal line extended to either cover attackman or to set in a zone.
Here's Carr. Good slide by the Dragons with Kiernan that time. Carr with no room to operate. A near turnover, and now it is scooped up by Jake Kiernan. Harris, and that's something that I'm sure they'll watch on film with some smiles for the Dragons tomorrow.
Yeah, when you're a riding attackman, it's not fun getting ran over by the midfielder.
And ended up taking care of Spencer. Bowering and Manganello, along with Valentino. Again, late run for the sophomore mid. Now, how much possession lacrosse do you play versus being a little more aggressive? You have a lead. It's a tight game, though.
You're going to be aggressive. It's a one-goal game, especially you're not as confident the face-off X as you could be. So you're going to try and score, and you're going to push it, and they've done a good job of that.
Varian this time gets the angle and the jump shot.
And that's a big difference from the way Matt Varian has been dodging and shooting the ball today. He does a great job of getting up the field on this one to get his angle. He gets his defenseman stick behind him. He has to bring it in front. The defenseman tries to hold him, and he's over to overpower him with a jump shot, high to low. Again, beating Hampton Brannon to the opposite side. That's a tough save again from 7 to 8 yards, but that's the difference between Varian getting above the goal line and not shooting when he just gets to the goal line extended.
And then the somersault at the end, just to show you how hard that was.
Yep, just a little ad. No. Then the first 2 goals of the quarter coming from Drexel.
Yeah, this is the largest lead now for either team, 2 goals. And the first time the Dragons have been up by this many.
And I think it's also very important to point out right here is UMass has 7 goals. They've scored 13, 14, 17, and 13 in their last 4 games. And here they have 7 with about 12 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah, and their leading scorer in Carr has been held to 1 point today. Short stick Philpott, and now they'll set it up with Spencer.
And we've seen success from UMass on the offensive end, dodging the short stick and beating the short stick before the slide comes. That's where they've really scored their goals, when they're not scoring in transition.
Yeah, see if they can do it again.
But same thing from Drexel here again. They're putting their 2 short sticks on goal line extended. They're not a big zone team, so this just might be matching up against the attackmen with short sticks.
Connolly had to play it back to X. One more dodge, getting right in front of the cage. Back around it comes John Tierney. Can Carr find any room to go to work? Bouncer goes wide, and this Tierney again. Some obvious frustration after the miss. Very talkative Drexel sideline with assistant coach Chris Collins barking out orders.
Over and back, it'll be Drexel's ball.
So again, Drexel defense ends up standing up.
And I think even if that shot was on goal, that pass shot, I think Teitelbaum was right on it.
Yeah, as he has been for most of the day. A lot tighter so far than it was up in Amherst a year ago. Minutemen won big in that one, 14-8. What was a 6-second quarter goal outburst for Greg Canella's club. Manganello defended by Spencer, wanted King, and it was there if he could have corralled it.
It's the toughest feed in lacrosse.
Spencer thinking about some transition down low, right to the front, and they score. And there's Jesse Lung for the first time today.
Yeah, Jesse Lung, usually used as a man-up player a lot, gets an opportunity, gets on the field here. And again, Buddy Carr could have probably stepped around and shot that, and it would have been a good shot, but he finds a better shot and passes the ball to Lung there, and he finishes inside.
Jesse Lung, Bugs Combs, must have heard us talking about last year's matchup, because he was the guy a year ago.
Yep. Feels comfortable, gets in there, finishes his opportunity. He's going to stay in. Coach is going to reward him for that goal and let him stay in and play a little bit longer.
Jesse Lung out of Brookline, Massachusetts. His career high last year in this matchup.
And this would go along with what Coach Canella said this week. He said they need to get to double digits to win this game.
Shave this deficit in half. King going about 100 miles an hour on that one. Bowering with the backup. And I think Brian Volker going to spend a timeout. Oh, no, just substitutions.
Yeah, Noah Rack looks like he was a little slow getting off the field there, so the official stopped it, let him get off the field.
First line midfielder Jake O'Donnell. Valentino can't get the step. Good defense by Jake Marino. Valenza giving Varian all he can handle. Varian has had to work for just that one goal that he's had.
Valenza's done an excellent job on him today.
Luke Valenza going to play on the Italian national team this summer. Bouncing and scoring, and Fox for the third time today. A hat trick and perhaps maybe a coming out party for the sophomore midfielder today.
I'm not sure how he slips through this double team. He does a great job with stick protection. He gets up top, he slips, the double comes, he slides through it. He's got great strength with his stick. The defense was not able to check it through, and then shoots the ball high to low inside. And this is just a tough play by him and taking advantage of what they give him. And again, finishing the ball there, but that's a strong play by Nick Fox to be able to handle that check.
Nick Fox was an honorable mention league selection as a senior. But definitely has the student and the athlete part and student athlete down. Finished in the top 3% of his class in high school. UMass, quick transition. There's Carr off the face-off for the first time today. 12 seconds is all it takes for the Minutemen to respond.
Right off the face-off, doing a great job of getting up the field there. We see Shane Rinkus move the ball to Buddy Carr. Buddy Carr has about 2 seconds to get rid of it before they get it in his hands, and he finishes the ball high to low. And that's a big goal there. Just beats Teitelbaum right between the legs. He keeps his stick right near his ear so the goalie can't match it, and he changes his plane. Great shot.
Almost at the halfway point of this game, and Buddy Carr, to give you an idea how well the Drexel Dragon defense has played on him. Only had an assist to this point. So that's his first goal on what has been 4 shots today for Buddy Carr. Klingus running this one down. So Drexel playing with, again, its largest lead of the day. It's been 2 goals in either direction for either team. Trying to start off CAA play with a home victory against the team that was the runner-up in the league a year ago. UMass beaten 9-4 by Towson in the title game.
They had a pretty crazy semifinal win. Pretty crazy goal to beat Hofstra to get to the championship.
With no time on the clock.
It was about 40-some yard shot, 50-yard shot.
Valentino at the top of the zone. And cause turnover for the Minutemen. Taken away by who else? Paparo. Trainer on the run, down low, bottom shelf, and they score. It's a hat trick for Spencer.
This goal starts on the defensive end of the field. Ill-advised play by the Drexel player there. Gets himself into trouble by getting into the double team. And then UMass has done it all day. They did a great job running in transition and finding their opportunities and burying them when they have that chance.
How good is their offense? They've tied this game in 1 minute and 19 seconds.
I think it's more of their whole full field.
Because the complement.
This is the defense, the defensive midfielders, the poles, all those guys running in transition and then making the right decision and getting the ball into the guys that can finish his hands.
No, and you're right, and that's a good point. It's everybody getting involved, and it started a lot with a lot of these wins by Rack.
Yeah, they've turned some of these wins into transition opportunities, which is just means Drexel's not really matching up with their guys on the faceoff.
Both teams have gotten to double digits. And the Minutemen come up with a big one. Had to go backwards, though, into their own zone. And Paparo finally able to get it out. And correction, that was actually Myers on that last face-off for UMass. So Rack still remains out. And now the Minutemen with the momentum that shifted back with a pair of goals in all of 79 seconds. Lasauskis drawing the assignment of the short stick Strang. Able to get the slide. Carr with an open alley, but got his pocket picked. Klingus with a huge play. Past the halfway point of the fourth quarter. Drexel led 10-8. UMass has battled back. But now can the Dragons go back in front again? Fox has had the hat trick. He and Spencer have both jumped into that category for their respective teams. It's been 6 different Minutemen to find the board. Drexel's had 8 different players with at least a goal.
It's hard to stop teams when you have a lot of guys that can put the ball in the goal.
And Brian Volker had said that. You know, it's not necessarily one guy, 2 guys. Manganello was looking for the hat trick, sends that wide.
I tell you what, I like the way he's dodging from up top and getting his hands free. I'd go back to that if I was Drexel and see, if you can keep getting that.
And here they go again to Manganello. Matched up with Philpott. And testing the goaltender, Brannon, who was ready.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that one made it to the goal. I think the defenseman might have knocked that down.
That got deflected.
It was a good job by the defenseman getting his stick in there.
Paparo, the one to bring it through again. Down to our final 5 minutes of the CAA opener. What else could you ask for? A tie game. Drexel led 5-4 at the break. Outscored 6-5 here by UMass in the first 25 minutes of this second half. Lasauskis and the veteran Kiernan, who plays him. Spencer trying to work the face dodge. Good check from Hurley, but there's the first response for Ben Spencer today. That's not man up, but it doesn't matter. 7th one of the year for the junior from Danville, California, and UMass is back in front.
I love the shot. I think the shot here he takes, he gets a good job of getting his hands free by using his shoulder, and then he has a great overhand, kind of bounces a little bit right before it goes in the goal, but he changes his plane and he does a good job not using his head, but using his shoulder to get his hands free and get separation from the defender.
Ben Spencer's 5th career point in what's 3 games against the Dragons. Loves playing against Drexel. That's his 4th career goal against them. Coida with the clean win.
There's definitely a difference for UMass with, with Rack not out there and Myers taking the face-offs. Even though Myers was successful in the last one, it's been a little bit different. You got to think maybe Coida maybe feels a little bit more comfortable with the other guy out there. Maybe it's a better matchup for him. All those things play in the face-off X.
Yeah, Tom Myers in a bit of a homecoming. He's a Radnor, PA native, but has only won 44% of his draws this year. So definitely an advantage for Coida. Bowering around the horn to vary it at X. Trying to make his way in. King playing it back to Bowering, this time wheeling his way in. One more time, trying to go low, and Brannon able to keep that out of the cage.
Good job by Brannon keeping that out.
Marino setting it up for Philpott. And we get multiple penalty flags.
Yep, we got right now the flag's down. We got too many men on Drexel right now. We got 7 guys on the field for Drexel. So they're, you know, if I'm UMass here, I'm going to eat a little bit of this time up here until they put the shot clock on. Let's have the ball on the outside. We're up by a goal, under 3 minutes, and we know we're going to get a 30-second foul. So Coach Volker, you see him telling Drexel to get out and take the ball. He wants to get the ball on the ground so the man up plays.
Lasauskis. Fox not necessarily going after this ball, though.
Shot clock's on.
And they still can't grab it, though. Shot clock continues to run down to 20. Carr creeping toward 2 minutes. And they're going to try and take all of this if they can. Carr with the shot clock at 5. Back to the middle of the zone, and what a save by Teitelbaum. As Lasauskis gave him everything he could handle with that one.
I like the way UMass played that there. I think that they did the right thing. They even got a shot off at the end, which I was really impressed with. You know, bleed all the time down. You're going to be man up now. Should be a 30-second foul on Drexel. UMass will be up for 30 seconds.
I mean, that in terms of that possession, that's almost the perfect storm. You get everything you want. You get a shot as the shot clock's going down. And now you get a chance to push this lead even further with the man up.
A timeout here by Coach Volker, so he can set up his man-down defense as well as have Coach Boyle talk about what they want to do when they get the ball down the other end.
Now, this has been every bit as good as advertised. CAA Game of the Week. We'll have another one next week. Drexel heading to Towson. Coverage 11:30 a.m. Eastern with the Lacrosse Now pregame show. And then face-off coming up at noon. But this is the opening of our CAA Men's Game of the Week. And what a way to do it. Back and forth we've gone. Drexel led by 1 at the half. UMass jumped out 2-0, 4-2. And it's the Minutemen who have the lead in position to maybe walk away and steal this one. They have never won in this series on the road. Every one of their wins either in Amherst or at a neutral site.
You know, here we're going to take a look at the last UMass goal. And again, he does a great job of getting his hands free and using the bounce shot overhand to get Teitelbaum to go low, and it comes back underneath the crossbar.
Yeah, Ben Spencer is their hardest shooter, according to Greg Cannella, by far. And showed it right there, put some power behind that one.
We know UMass here, they can at least use the first 30 seconds of the foul without worrying about getting the shot clock put on them. There's no shot clock on a man-up, man-down situation, so you don't have to worry about that. So you know you can at least get to 130 here. And if you have an opportunity, you definitely want to take it and finish it. Absolutely.
So man up coming for the Minutemen. Again, Spencer is the guy to watch for UMass, who just had the go-ahead goal. He's perched at the top of that attack zone, actually out of frame right now. And Minutemen with the goal lead gonna elect to work some clock. Take down most of this EMO.
Now it'll be interesting once the EMO is off, how long the refs decide that they're going to put when they're going to put the shot clock on. You know, is it 30 seconds, 45 seconds, is it a minute?
Down to our final 120 as UMass tries to escape with a victory. Final 112. And officiating crew getting some encouragement from the Drexel sideline.
Yeah, Coach Volker wanting the shot clock on. Now they put it on. It's a difference of about 30 seconds between the shot clock and the game clock.
Dragons have to, well, don't have to force a turnover, but if you could get an early one even before the clock expires.
And look for UMass here. If they're not going to go to the goal here, look for them carry the ball in the corner and roll it into the corner and able to get their defensive personnel on the field here. You know, instead of throwing the ball in the crease, you might see them just roll it to the end here.
Spencer with the shot clock down and rifles one toward Teitelbaum. But that clock's running. Final 25 seconds. Drexel has to do something. Fox getting into the attack zone. And a timeout on the field with 16 seconds left. And I don't know if Fox is frustrated. I don't know if he wanted him to use that because he had gotten there.
I'm the coach. I'm using that timeout.
I know you are.
I'm not taking that chance, man. I can tell you, you got one possession left. You got 16 seconds. I would say I would look for Coach Bull here probably to set something up. You're taking a look at Nick Fox here where they called the timeout. He obviously was open, but, you know, a lot of the UMass players had stopped playing at that time because of the timeout. But I would look for Coach Bull to come out here with a pick, and I would look for him probably to set a pick up top as well as a pick on goal line extended and have the guy with the ball up top coming off the pick and looking to feed the guy coming from goal line extended. If my guess, it would be Manganello looking for King here.
What's been our highest scoring quarter of the day. 7 total goals of the 21 that we've seen today have come in this last quarter of play. Do we have any more coming is the question. Is there going to be an extra period? Dragons are coming off of a double overtime win against Providence.
Yeah, they got to feel confident. I think this is, you know, you got to see UMass is going to come out. They're going to put pressure on the ball, I would imagine, just to not let Drexel get set up anything. But like you see 16 up here, Manganello up at the top here. You know, they've been successful with him dodging, so I would expect UMass to have a pole on him up top here. Or UMass to come out in a zone with only 16 seconds left. And that wouldn't give Drexel much time to adjust and put their play in against the zone.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I would think that would be the play.
The only thing is sometimes when you're in that zone, you give up an outside shot, and you know, having a young goalie in the goal, you don't want to give up a 14, 15-yard shot that he might not be able to save.
Manganello will be the trigger man right in front of the Drexel sideline. Manganello coming across his body. They've got to make a decision quickly. Inside 10 seconds, around the horn. Varian turns and couldn't get it there. It ends up deflected, and UMass in this series has won on the road for the first time over Drexel.
They got the look they want. It looks like he hits the pipe, and UMass walks away with the CAA win, and that's how close the CAA is.
Wow, the Minutemen with what's a 4-goal fourth quarter that pushes them over the top. And it ends up being the one from Ben Spencer with 4:33 left in the fourth quarter that gets them what is their 6th win of the year, and they go to 1-0 in conference play.
No, see Varian, right off his hip. What a great save by Brandon Hampton Brandon there. That's a great save.
Brannon, yeah, the biggest save of his young career, perhaps.
The way it came off, it looked like it hit the pipe. It came off so fast, but it must have come off his hip bone.
So a big win for the Minutemen. And what ends up being now their 5th straight. Momentum continues as they go further into CAA play. Drexel will be back on our air next week for the CAA Game of the Week as Drexel headed down to Towson. But certainly an impressive win for Greg Cannella in the Minutemen today. As we said, it never won on the road in this series. Their average margin of defeat was 5 goals against Drexel. And they come in here and more or less end up stealing one with a big fourth quarter after Drexel had led by as many as 2. Well, that will do it for us here from the Vitus Athletic Complex. Once again, our final score, UMass the 11-10 win, coming from behind to beat Drexel. Coming up next, you can get caught up on all the highlights and news from today on Lacrosse Now. For my broadcast partner, Bugs Combs, producer Brad Kasnet, and our entire fine crew, Matt Martucci, say so long, and thanks for watching our CAA College Lacrosse Game of the Week here on Lac Sports Network.